Today we are diving into the world of the most mysterious and unusual creatures mentioned in the Bible. These creatures are not merely fantastical images, but symbols that carry important spiritual truths and revelations. They represent different aspects of spiritual struggle, separation from God's will, and the consequences of sin. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos. Locusts with human faces. Locusts with human faces are one of the most chilling visions described in the book of Revelation. In chapter 9, the Apostle John describes them as follows. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Revelation 9:7. This creature combines both animal and human traits. Their faces resemble human faces, their hair is like that of women, and their tails resemble scorpions. This image conveys that sin often disguises itself as something familiar and safe, but in reality brings pain and suffering. The locusts in Revelation symbolize the spiritual torment that awaits those who have turned away from God and are an allegory for the suffering a person experiences when they stray from the true path. Basilisk. Next is the basilisk, a deadly creature mentioned in the book of Isaiah. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young child will put its hand into the viper's nest. Isaiah 11:8. The basilisk is a venomous serpent, whose nature carries a deadly threat. But in Isaiah's prophecies, even the basilisk cannot cause harm in the coming messianic kingdom. This shows that God's authority extends over all aspects of creation, and that he can turn even the deadliest evil into something harmless. The basilisk symbolizes danger and death, but also God's protection and victory over all manifestations of evil. Beast from the sea. The beast from the sea, mentioned in Revelation, is another terrifying creature. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns. This beast represents political power and kingdoms that rise against God and attempt to establish their authority on earth. Its hybrid appearance, combining traits of various animals, underscores the cruelty and relentlessness of this power. The beast from the sea reminds believers that worldly power that denies God will always try to subjugate people and lead them away from the truth. Beast from the earth. The beast from the earth works in alliance with the beast from the sea, and its mission is to make people worship the first beast. Then I saw a second beast, coming out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. Revelation 13:11. Outwardly, it appears harmless, but its words are those of a dragon. This beast symbolizes false prophets, who appear as virtuous leaders, but in reality act for evil. Its image warns believers to be vigilant and not to succumb to false teachings and charismatic false prophets who may appear righteous but lead toward evil. Dragon. The image of the dragon frequently appears in apocalyptic texts, and the book of Revelation is no exception. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. Revelation 12:3. The dragon symbolizes evil in its purest form, serving as the embodiment of Satan. Its multiple heads and horns highlight its power and influence. The dragon seeks to destroy God's people and spread chaos and destruction. This image reminds believers that the struggle between good and evil is a reality in which we live, and that God will always be there to support and protect us. Satyrs. Another mysterious creature is the satyr, mentioned in the book of Isaiah. Wild animals shall meet with hyenas. The satyrs shall cry to one another. There Lilith shall settle and find her rest. Satyrs are mythical beings inhabiting desolate and abandoned places. These desert spirits symbolize the complete absence of God's blessing and embody the chaos and isolation that come when a person turns away from God. They remind us that spiritual isolation leads to emptiness and oblivion. Unicorn. The unicorn is another creature mentioned in the Bible, and it appears more than once. In the Psalms we read, "Save me from the lion's mouth and from the horns of the unicorns." Psalm 22, verse 21. The unicorn in the biblical context is a powerful and wild animal, possibly akin to a bull, symbolizing strength and defiance. This image emphasizes God's power, who can control even the wildest of creatures. The unicorn reminds us of the greatness of God's power, which surpasses everything in the world. The unusual creatures mentioned in the Bible are symbols that carry profound spiritual truths. They teach us about good and evil, faithfulness to God, and the consequences of sin. They remind us that despite all threats and dangers, God's power remains unshakable, and His will is immutable. These images help us better understand the spiritual reality in which we live and the importance of remaining faithful to God to overcome all trials and temptations. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes.